Yes. Welcome to a beautiful sunny day here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Yes. Welcome to a beautiful sunny day here. And this is the Texas Torque Wrench, aka Shane Bedingfield, laying down the tracks here on Saturday afternoon. And it's Super Bowl Sunday. What can we say? It's Super Bowl Sunday. And I made the bold prediction that the whole broadcast is going to go dark for 5 minutes tomorrow during your Super Bowl Sunday. Yes, I know that's bold of me, but the NWO, which you ought to see my blog, I just got through. There's probably going to be a mafia hit on me tomorrow after what I did on my blog today. If it ain't the WWE, it's going to be the real NWO, because I've made a direct shot at one of the godfathers of wrestling today just to wake everybody up. So, because either way, I took a shot, and I took a legit shot at Stone Cold yesterday. And everybody from the old business knows what the hell I'm talking about. That was a legit shot. Because he ain't protecting the business by having people that's on TV right now, especially top heels. And then they go out there and they just absolutely kill their persona. Bray Wyatt, the Wyatts need to disappear for a while. I was watching an interview with Kevin Sullivan talking about Road Warrior Hawk yesterday, about he could have been main eventer as a singles, but they needed Hawk to disappear for a while, and it was sort of hard to make the Road Warriors disappear at all because, they're in the top 3 tag teams of all time, the top heel tag team of all time for sure. So it's like but the Wyatts are sort of at that position. The problem is they moved them along too fast, and now, because the WWE being entertainment instead of wrestling, because the WWE is entertainment instead of wrestling, that's how come it's not drawing. Jim Crockett had a chance to own the Harlem Globetrotters at one time, but he didn't want to take away from the family business. And see, Vince McMahon is caught up in that now too. But now he's got shareholders to take care of. So, the only way they're going to really, really fix this is the Wyatts either bringing in a new heel team and drop them in during the main event at WrestleMania, and drop them in without nobody knowing it, including almost the whole creative team. And then do the big run-in that sets the whole place on fire again. WrestleMania, the main event, can't have any hot spots this year. I said that. This is going to possibly, they have worked themselves into the worst position you could be worked into. Because now they're forced to go legit. And on top of that, you got a roster full of kids who can't walk from point A to point B without slipping over their shoestring and breaking their leg. So it's like, you got a bunch of kids that are prone to getting hurt to begin with. So they're forced. They are literally forced right now to put it all on the line. And I don't say Triple H needs to leave the damn sledgehammer in the freaking locker room. He's never really used the sledgehammer for real purposes ever in his life, so he doesn't even need to be bringing it. Well, I understand he got broke in so fast that he got escalated up, and he spent very little time on the indies to begin with. So he needs to let the real men, the steel workers, mess with the sledgehammer, and he needs to leave the sledgehammer out of it. Hitting somebody with a sledgehammer is not real in pro wrestling, unless you kill them. Unless you hit them once and kill them, or put them in the hospital, and the real ambulance shows up, then it's legit. That's what he needs to do. If he's gonna use a sledgehammer, he needs to hit somebody, break their ribs right on live TV live. And that way it'll be believable. That's what he needs to do. But the sledgehammer's not believable, and whoever told him to do that is high. They need to be drug tested daily. So, now that we got that out of the way. But this is the deal. They're forced to do some stuff that they really don't want to do. They don't need the dang WWE old steel cage when they do steel cage matches anymore. They need the Starcade cage. They need a show where there's not so many hot spots. If you notice, every match that gets made up, you can tell they're setting him back, and that's every one of them. I think John Cena may call a little bit on the fly. Bray Wyatt may call a little bit on the fly. I'm not really for sure if he calls everything on the fly. Because his work, the way he works, you almost got to talk it out at least the first couple times when you work against him and the Wyatt family, because you just don't know. You got to talk it out with them in the back just to see if they're all thinking straight. That's just one of those deals. I mean, you can't. It'd be nice if WWE, I dressed in a heel locker room before. And I just don't know if WWE, this whole developmental program, I think since the Jim Cornette days, may have been done wrong. Because it's the way you can just see it. And it's been going on for 10 years this way. This is how come a lot of the old guys get mad. And I'm going to be honest with you. When I called some matches with some young kids, I talked it out with them just because I just want to see if they're coherent. If they understand the concept at all. Because you can go out there and do 9,000 moves and that not make any sense. Like I made one of the Mr. Suplex machines do a body slam match, the whole match. But it was all place body slams. And, Jake the Snake did the Junkyard Dog one time. He made him slam him like 8 times and blew him up. Made Junkyard Dog look like the biggest idiot ever to freaking exist in wrestling. And it's like, I didn't do that, but the kid was prone to blowing up, and you just got not everything's set in stone in wrestling either. And these guys that are teaching at these schools, I was watching Paul Roma the last couple of days. If I was in Connecticut, I would go to Paul Roma's school because that's legit. And he has put together some good stuff over the years, especially in his WCW stuff. He knew what he was doing. But see, the bad thing about WCW was the whole political deal. Nobody knew what. It sort of comes down to my old saying. I have a saying that I don't think anybody in the country really knows, including some of the legends, really know what a good worker is. Because if you're on the outside and you're looking in and you go into a locker room for your first time, or you're in the same locker room 2 or 3 times back to back, and I'm talking like what Ricky Morton, George South, some of those guys, you could be absolutely confused on what a great worker is. Because the guys, and one of the guys I was in a faction with one time, if Ricky Morton would have stopped in the locker room, he was going to go right up his butt. And I was really confused. What a great worker is, because a great worker in wrestling looks like a guy that sucks up and gives one hell of a BJ, gives a better BJ than his wife or girlfriend. That's what a great worker looks like. If you look at the WWE, the Ring of Honor, I don't know. I don't know much about their Lucha Underground's personnel, but you look at TNA. TNA's worse. So TNA's that little suggestion I gave to TNA, they don't got the brain power to do that. I don't even think, to be honest with you, Bruce Pritchard, what I just got through and telling you about, TNA needs to go tag team. I think if Bruce Pritchard was booking that, I don't think he could put it together. Because he stayed so under Vince's wing for so long that I don't think he can come up with his own ideas on that. Where you're bringing some guys, because on a deal like that, you're forced to do research as a booker. And I don't know, and it can't be word of mouth, because word of mouth nowadays in the wrestling business doesn't mean nothing. It literally means nothing. So you're forced to do stuff that you don't want to do as a booker on that situation. And it's just, TNA has worked. I said Dixie needs to go, either needs a sex tape or she needs to get herself exposed and get herself exposed in a big way. She doesn't need no DWI or anything like that, but she needs some sex tapes to get leaked. And she needs to get caught like in bed with somebody really, really popular, and not necessarily from the wrestling business. She needs to try banging one of the Dallas Cowboys or something, and get it caught on tape, and let it get leaked, and let the NFL run wild with it. Because once the NFL guys start talking about it, or it's over. Or bang a basketball player, do something. Bang one of the Dallas Mavericks, do something. Do something where it gets attention to TNA. And then have the horses at TNA with the right kind of thinking to do something. But until then, TNA is just, it's not going to have any exposure because the way how TNA's filmed, and she needs a lot more cameras. She needs to start thinking over stuff a lot more. She needs to get creative, and she needs to get away from that complete commercial. Her commercials look terrible. TNA's Impact Wrestling's commercials look terrible. Their gimmick shirts, I wouldn't use TNA's gimmick shirts for toilet papers. It's that bad. So, I don't know what to tell you. Every time, a lot of people say they just think TNA is on the verge of shutting down. Could shut down within the next hour. That's how bad it is. And I know that's... I know that was a tough one to swallow, but TNA could shut down within the next hour, and nobody knew about it. My podcast has better longevity, could last longer, is more resilient than TNA wrestling. So it's just, I don't know what to tell you about, TNA. It's just like, they booked the same crap over and over again. They had a good thing going in the beginning years, and then it just gradually got worse. You brought MVP in. MVP, this basically made the whole program go to hell. They lose their damn TV rights. Then they go on Pop. They go somewhere else that's even worse, where nobody literally watches. It's like... And, if you're not close, if you're not on that main cable roster full of broadcasting networks, you're really not nothing. You might as well be wrestling in an indie show, and that's the only thing TNA really is just a quarter of a step above an indie show. That's all it is. Ring of Honor, same way. I don't know all the details on Lucha Underground. AAA is better than all of them put together in Mexico. It's better than Lucha Underground. It's better than Ring of Honor, and it's better than TNA. You know why? You know how I can tell? Look at the girls sitting in the audience of AAA. You don't got that kind of women sitting at Ring of Honor. You got fat chicks at Ring of Honor. You got Buffalo women at TNA who just left the truck stop in North Carolina because they wanted to hang out with TNA Gunner after the show. Because TNA Gunner's so over in North Carolina and South Carolina that they just can't wait to go eat a pork chop with him. You know what I'm saying? Oh, TNA Gunner. There was this fat chick outside of Hickory, North Carolina. That's the only thing she would talk about. We're hanging out with TNA Gunner. Oh, TNA Gunner. So you know what I'm saying? Oh, TNA Gunner. We're out there hanging out with TNA Gunner. Oh, Brock Phoenix hanging out with TNA Gunner. Oh, TNA Gunner. It's like, that part of North Carolina, they're all Dusty Rhodes fans. We're going to the pay window, baby. Let me drop the elbow on you. They're all TNA Gunner fans over there. Oh, TNA Gunner. We're going to go eat at the Waffle House with TNA Gunner. That's the only thing you hear out of those people in Hickory, North Carolina. What you doing tonight? Oh, I'm hanging out with TNA Gunner. Oh, TNA Gunner showed up at one of the world's worst wrestling shows. It shows you how bad TNA really is. And it shows you Dixie does not do her homework. There's this wrestling company. They shot on me one time. They shot on the Texas Torque. I loved every minute of it because you know what? When you shoot on me, you're just putting me over. Well, those idiots got so worried about me at one time that they shot on me. And then 3 months later, I think 2 months later, they brought TNA Gunner to wrestle on a mat. Now, granted, the mat in Monroe ain't too much better. There's these steroids. These guys that take bad steroids, they take steroids that don't work, and they think they're steroids. Over in Monroe, called the Carolina Bombers. And they actually thought that by bringing him into a mat that's got duct tape on it, that it was going to really, it drew, but I don't think it drew half as good as it could be. Because that show's terrible. That's one of those places, that's one of those armories that ISIS needs to, attack, because as long as they're holding shows like that at that armory in Newton, North Carolina, where TNA Gunner showed up at, that armory doesn't need to exist anymore. That needs to be leveled. They need to turn that thing into a crater. But that shows you how much Dixie does not do her homework. Dixie's freaking an idiot. She pays those guys so little where they're forced to go out and do terrible wrestling shows in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. She doesn't know how to get her federation over. I gave it a formula to get her federation over, her federation company, whatever the hell you want to call it. You go out there, you do an All Japan wrestling top tag team tourney, the kind of stuff that I grew whenever I was getting trained. Chris Youngblood showed me. And you get over, and you make the guys work with each other. You say no. You even tell the old guys, you even tell Ricky and Robert, if they don't want to work somebody to fucking take their Tampax out and fucking work with these guys. Well, Ricky will do it, and I know Robert will too. So, but you tell them to get the prima donna patch off, because you're going to be forced to do it. It's going to be like Ron Bass versus Kaniski over in All Japan, where everybody was scared to death of Kaniski because he was a real badass, and you make them work with each other. It's sort of like, see, WWE's real bad that way too, because WWE, if you notice, the same 5 guys work with the same 5 guys. It's a Tampax league too, That's their problem. It's the Tampax league. Okay, like say if you worked in the Indies for 15 years, like what's his name, the guy that can't dress, Kevin Owens. Did his mom even know what J.C. Penney was? Okay, you got a guy like that. Okay, he finally works his way to the top. He's literally wrestled everybody that you can. Or I can't say that because the Indies don't even work like that nowadays either. Because the Indies don't even have traveling champions anymore. That idiot, that's king of the Southeast, that wannabe Italian, him and that Simon Says idiot, Francisco or whatever, he claims to be a traveling champ, but they're rotating right in a circle. Georgia, North Florida, some of the really there's a lot of great athletes, but they're terrible workers at Snuka's place. They're great athletes, but they whine down there. But there's more to work with besides just the guys in North Florida. But he travels between Georgia, Florida, and Alabama. And Alabama, there ain't much left of Alabama wrestling nowadays. They claim to be traveling champions. I think he went to Texas before, but see, Texas don't even. Whenever me and Chris Red did that deal for NWA Southwest, we literally met those guys that night that we did the tag team with. That was 2002. That ain't even 2003. That ain't even getting done anymore down in Texas. In Amarillo, you got guys. You got literally the same 5 guys working with each other every freaking week. And the marks are stupid enough to think they're doing good. It shows you where Amarillo's at right now. Amarillo, at least when I was on the deal that probably got indie wrestling back going again in Amarillo, because I did a shot. Me and Chris Youngblood did a shot. Then I disappeared, and then like 6 months later, they started doing indie wrestling again, and it's never going to draw. I mean, over there, it's not going to draw. I've seen pictures of the place. They're not drawing flies in the outhouse there. It's sort of like almost everywhere in North Carolina right now. If Ricky Morton ain't on the card, you're lucky if you get 60 people there. And if you get more than 60 people there, they're all comped. Literally, the whole place is comped. And that's everywhere. Or if you don't got Buck Bagwell. Buck Bagwell is still a big draw over here. But, I mean, it just shows you, and it all trickles down from what's going on in WWE and TNA. I mean, TNA, they couldn't book a dang Greyhound bus ticket. And WWE has a lot of work to do. They got everything to do it, but they're not utilizing the tools as a whole. As a whole, they're letting too many things slip by. The Wyatt family needs to disappear for a while. They almost either need to. I've said it. The Wyatt family should not have personal social media accounts. They shouldn't. I mean, it's just a fact of life. Because it just kills the suspension of disbelief. You got a lot of stuff going on there that's just never going to work. And if he does have a full house at WrestleMania, I guarantee you that last 5,000 or 6,000 he's giving away seats. There's no way he's pulling that place up. Because I just don't see it happening. I just do not see him. Those last 5,000 or 6,000 seats for WrestleMania are given away. That's a fact of life, and it's probably been that way for 5 years. So there's no way, and a lot of it's due to the way how Vince has treated the business. He's like an alcoholic who won't go to rehab, That's a lot of it right there, and he gets mad because people fire back on him. Well, guess what? Well, take your Tampax out and, man up. That's the only thing I can say to Vince is take your Tampax out and man up, because Your son-in-law ain't doing too much better right now. Your son-in-law can't. This WrestleMania, if he don't have some of the old guys sitting in the house there, it ain't going to draw nothing. You know, the old guy promo with Hacksaw, Jim Idiot, and because he's like one of the big Hacksaw Jim Duggan. A lot of people don't know this, but he's one of the biggest pieces of trash that's in the damn business. I think because of the medication, he started treating the dang fans real bad. I had a run-in with him on a deal up in New York. I don't know what to think about the guy. You're stupid if you book that guy, but, well, you're not stupid. You just need to watch yourself. I'm all for the old guys making money, but it's just, you know, I've heard, you know, many stories about Sonny mistreating the fans. You know, you've seen her lately. Sonny has the fat cells rolling. Let's just put it that way. So, but I mean, I understand how come people book them. You book the old guys to get the new kids looked at. That's how come you book the old guys. So, and I mean, Sonny, that mug shot, she looked like a damn beach dwell. She looked like an oversized beach dwell. I mean, Weight Watchers, I don't think Weight Watchers would help Sonny in that mugshot picture. So, let's just put it that way. And I've heard many stories of what she did to fans. And, you know, to be honest with you, on social media, a lot of those older people, they need the fans to get them over on social media. Because nobody doesn't care who they are anymore. So, like, I know Tammy was like, 2011, she was hitting stuff like on my Facebook. Trish Stratus was doing it so she could get over. Because she literally... Because, see, the WWE is so big, you can't tell if it's them or a PR company. Whenever you see these social media accounts, unless it's the verified symbols there. But it's just crazy. So the Super Bowl's going dark this year. All thanks to J. Edgar Hoover and to Patty Pat Patterson. I'm sure I'm sure the NWO is going to be having a bowling ball party tomorrow night during the Super Bowl, the Bilderberg Group in the Bohemian Grove. You know, and, you know, I basically spilt the guts again today on the wrestling business. You know, there's a lot going on. Stone Cold, you know, killing at least every time he does something with, you know, like that with Bray Wyatt that he did. Even though the interview was good, but the old school principles behind it was bad, though. So, but anyway, I just wonder what's going to happen whenever, you know, the Super Bowl goes dark and the live broadcast, you come back and it's absolute pandemonium. I wonder who's going to be ahead, Carolina or the Broncos, whenever the Super Bowl goes dark. You know, and hopefully Dixie will be making a dang sex tape during the middle of the Super Bowl. See, that's what she needs to do. She needs to make a sex tape during the Super Bowl. And then, like, freaking go nuts with it. You know, have it leaked intentionally. Doesn't she, like, watch movies like The Departed or The Italian Job or stuff like that? I mean, is she that out of touch with the real world where she can't think up of a story to get herself over? I mean, all right. Well, this is Shane Bedingfield, the Texas Torque Wrench. The spin stops here, baby.